Hello, ladies and gents. Welcome to the weekend. It's Saturday, 21st of August. Thank you all for joining me today at Proclamation News and Gatherence with the prodigious, the prominent Professor Johnson. I'm trying to be a bit of a crisis support to help the democracy out in different circumstances. Depression is in us all. No one deserves to be suffering in some sort of depression for whatever reason, X, Y, or Z. We should love one another like our neighbour. A lot of people were struggling to come to terms and beat one another down to a pulp. Why ain't everyone supporting one another to get them where they need to get in life? Like the Bible says, I love my neighbour like I'd love myself. I've got Dwayne Johnson coming on a minute, shortly, towards the end, to talk about depression. People suffer depression, anxiety. Everyone goes through some sort of trauma in life. You know, loss of a cat, maybe loss of a family member. It takes so long to get the initial support that you need. An old saying that Winston Churchill said, living with a black dog on your shoulder or over your shoulder, a dark night of depression, could beat you down if you let it. Try and stay positive, try and think of things to do, try and do something therapeutic to keep your mind active. It isn't easy. I mean, I'm, as you know, I like reading, I like artwork, I like being influential to others. It's not every day I'm overwhelmed. I don't feel like I'm getting enough out of society. You know, I want to support society. I know I'm talking, I get a lot of listeners come through, trying to support alienated mothers and fathers, trying to point people in the right direction. I can feel the actual court forms, you know, help through court. As a Mackenzie friend, I can act as a Mackenzie friend, absolutely. Bit of moral support through court is, I'll tell you what, can make a lot of difference. You go into court and, I don't know, your ex-partner starts saying X, Y, and Z, and you lose your rag. You need someone to sit with you sometimes, just let you know everything's going to be okay. Just don't retaliate. Do not retaliate. As soon as you retaliate with tit for tat, it looks horrendous. It looks horrendous. All the court is worried about is not X, Y, and Z. You're the victim. You're taking the persecutor to court, and the legislator is supposed to be their helper, help the situation, the drama triangle. Anyway, I'm going to move on. We have a little bit of feedback what's happened over the last few days. Mainly in the headlines at the moment is the terrorism that's going on in Afghanistan. Put yourself in their perspective. You've got 20,000 possibly come out of the UK. A lot of people, if you can't support one, why are we supporting other people? Why don't these people deserve a second chance of life to be helped? That's what countries do. They love their neighbour like they love themselves. The world, as we preach the world now, like I usually do. Pradisa Khatun Bakam is the world is one big family. I might have pronounced that wrong because I haven't got it in front of me. It's just the top of my head what I said yesterday. I think it is it's Hindu. It is Hindu. World is one big family. As in the Bible, love like neighbour, like you love yourself. Absolutely. And when I bring out all the globalisation, people come out, you know, the criticism of, you see fascist people, NX-phobia, all the same word, all the same meaning. But I'm just trying to elaborate it down so you might have heard these words. They're all in the same category. Racism. All the clothes you wear, all the food you eat, where does it come from? All the cars you drive, the mobile device you use, where does it come from? The desktop you use, where does it come from? That's what a lot of people don't actually acknowledge. Hang on a minute. I can't see. Some people may have been commenting on the show, but I cannot see. Anyway, I'm going to give a shout out to our sponsors before we move on the show. Please get a pen ready. It's Proclamation News and Gatherence. We are proudly sponsored by PSS Alarms. Fair, ethical and pragmatic work carried out. All works covered, including central station monitoring provider. All work done according to insurance requirements. This is a friend of mine's company. He's carried out works in Harry Kane's stepmother's house. He's carried out works in Harry Kane's stepmother's house in Hertfordshire, Pod Spa. He's carried out works in Essex, such as Casbah Restaurant and many more big businesses. Get a pen ready. Installation and maintenance of intruder alarms, fire alarms, CCTV. All work guaranteed and certified to SAS ARB standards. 24-hour call-out service. Don't forget to get a pen or your mobile phone ready to take this number down. Can provide CCTV for pubs, clubs, restaurants, or new business setup. Secure your business. Mention Professor Johnson for an extra discount. Your safety and priorities within your business are paramount, so think safety, think first, secure your equity, secure your home, secure your business. 07908 07908 216 142. 07908 216 142. It's a bit of a strange day, isn't it? Bit of a strange day. The sudden change in the natural hemisphere at the moment. It's a bit sticky, a bit humid. Overcast. I like to call it overcast. If you want to change your aspirations in life, you want to better your well-being, check out relax-uk.com. Relax UK Limited, health, travel and wellness products since 1997. UK relaxation shop selling various ranges of products from relaxation, travel, well-being, biofeedback, sleeping and natural products. Also, although I'm a political analyst, I'm a bit like a citizen vice bureau over my radio cast. It goes on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Castbox. So, it gets aired over to quite a fair few people a day. It doesn't matter if I get 2,000 listeners a week, but if they listen all the way through and they see something that's significant in their lifestyle that needs to be helped with or changed, please feel free to ask, what can I do? I've got this situation that needs sorting. A problem shared is a problem halved. Exactly what I'm here for, to try and help you guys move forward with your life. Because I believe that everyone deserves happiness and deserves their human rights to be acknowledged. Your voice, your opinion needs to be supported. This is horrific. How could someone's psychomotor state turn from 0 to 60? It's like a Ferrari engine, isn't it? 0 to 60 miles per hour in a matter of 2 seconds before they commit men's rehabilitations. This is a human, it comes from the human mind, the human mechanism, going from 0 to 60 to the point of 0 being, just normal, and 60 being, right, I'm going to kill. How could that change so rapidly? The psychomotor state of an inhumane society would only think, I don't know, what would be in his body to go and commit murder? Some sort of narcotics, surely. Westminster, double murder. Police release image of wanted man. Police looking for Lee Peacock in connection with the killing of 2 people in Westminster. Police have released an image of a man wanted in connection with 2 murders. Detectives have told the public not to approach Lee Peacock, 49, who officers want to question about the killings in Westminster in central London. A woman, 45, was found dead at a property in Ashbridge Street on Thursday night, and a man, 59, was found dead early on Friday at a property in nearby Jerome Crescent. Both had sustained knife injuries. Police previously revealed detectives said they were keeping an eye open about any possible motive. Lead investigator, Detective Chief Inspector Wayne Jolie said, I would urge anybody that knows the whereabouts of Lee Peacock to contact police immediately by calling 999. Any of you listeners know, please let me know and I'll call 999 if you've got good quality It's qualitative evidence, but I do need your name to give forward to the police. I will say it for you. If people like this don't deserve to be walking through humanities. I've got aunties, uncles, I've got brothers, sisters, cousins, father, mother. Who's next? Inquiries are underway to trace women's next of kin. One of man's have been notified and are being supported by specialist officers. No arrests have been made. Anyone that knew me, if I was to commit a knife crime, I hope to high heaven that someone would give me my punishment, and that person got justice for their family. Do not enter a vehicle under the influence of alcohol or narcotics. Think safety, think first. If you go out on a Friday night, you don't want to go in the car the next day. It takes 24 hours to get your system, so you need a good night's sleep. So you're not driving on sleep deprivation. So after you go out on a Friday night, make sure you have a good sleep, at least through till getting at 4 o'clock. Maybe you need to sleep till 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And don't drive a car till the following day at least. Just, use your optimistic mind. Simple, so simple. People make mistakes. Check your engine or water coolant tank. Make sure the top up's at maximum level. Check your PSI limits. Check for further road safety signs, police instructions. Make sure you and passengers have seatbelts adjacent to the car seat and babies have adapters adjacent to the car seat. Checking your centre mirror and wing mirror before turning, acting in safe, sufficient directional choice. There's an incident in Colchester today. Plan your destination to avoid incidents, roadworks, congestion, road closure, lane close, and weather incidents. Could be a river on the A12 or on the motorway, blocking your journey from A to B. You have to replan your destination. You don't want to be late for your flight or something. Maybe going to a birthday, maybe going to a meeting, maybe dropping kids off for, I don't know, youth club thing when they go on a trip. B1408 accident, traffic code well. Report of accident on a B1408 London Road near Golf Shop. Traffic is code well. At 1:26 p.m. This was reported today. Down just past Basildon on the way to Canby Island, A1013. Congestion to heavy traffic. Other heavy traffic due on the A13. Weekend closure on A103. Stamford Road both ways around Stamford Hope by bypass. Stamford Hope turnoff. Congestion to routes around Orsett. This is reported at 27 a.m. this morning. Ilford. I was just doing South East England and we still are. We're in Ilford. A406. Queuing traffic on A406 North Circle southbound between A118 Ilford Hill, Ilford Flyover and A13 Newham Way, Bexton roundabout at 10 to 12 this afternoon. Watford. A41 busy but moving on at A41 Conway both ways between B462 Hartspring Lane, Hartspring roundabout and A412 St Albans Road. The Dome roundabout was reported at 20 to 10 a.m. We're just going to quickly get on to Dwayne Johnson about depression. Depression could be us all if you...
One of the keys is remember where you came from. Keep that shit in the front of your mind. And when shit goes bad and it goes sideways, a lot of shit does. You're getting booed out of the fucking building, or you're coming through this injury, or people are writing you off. Oh, you guys ain't gonna fucking make it. Any of that shit. You gotta keep it in here. And it really has to. It should drive you. This idea and this notion that you could be anything you want, you can accomplish anything you want, right? We hear that. You've heard that from the time you were little boys. You hear that now. You're already incredibly accomplished. You can win an NBA championship, MVP of the league. You can become president. You could become governor. You could be in entertainment. You could do Charles, and you could do Shaq. You could do that. You could do whatever you want to do. You guys know that. The thing that has worked for me is to remember the hard times. So, and I'm sure you guys all have your processes. And again, I'm going to tell you what's worked for me. So before a big movie comes out, before back in the days when I was wrestling with WWE, a WrestleMania match, anything big that would happen, I would always take a moment and I'd just remind myself, all right, I was evicted when I was 14. We were kicked off the island. We couldn't live in Hawaii. Had no place to live. A lot of shit happened. Then when I moved to Nashville, I was arrested multiple times by the time I was 16 years old. Like, I remember that. If I were playing on this team, which my skills are, what's that term? Oh, the shits. So I would play. But before I lace up, before I get on court, before I play in these big games, before I go to the Staples Center, where history says those are historic walls there at the Staples Center. I would remember that, and it allows me then to be present in the moment and understand, holy shit, this stuff I have around me right now, this is the shit that I dreamed of when I was a kid. I am here. I played for University of Miami, played with great teams. Warren Sapp, Ray Lewis, they were my teammates. They were balling. Warren Sapp was playing tight end that time. I was starting defensive tackle. Yeah. They moved him over to D-line. And he looked at me and was like, yo, dude, I'm going to take your spot. I said, you ain't taking my spot. I'm going to take your spot. We battled, and he took my spot. And you can imagine how that fucked with me, because there goes my opportunity. He went in, switched to defensive tackle, lit the world on fire. Well, what that did, it crushed me. It crushed my dreams. I had a piss-poor senior year, zero production, no NFL, no combine invite, nothing. Finally went to the CFL, Calgary Stampeders, making $250 a week Canadian. And I had to send that shit home to my wife at that time. Had no money. So I remember that. I got cut from Canada. I had $7 in my pocket. And I always tell that story. So now my production company is $7, advertising agency is $7, everything is $7. So I always remember that. What helps me is to keep the hard times in the front of my mind, because it allows me to go into these big moments that I've worked my ass off, and you guys have worked your ass off. It allows me to go into these big moments with a different perspective. What it also does for me, and again, this is what works for me. Like, I keep my back, excuse my language, my back is up against this motherfucker every day. It's against this fucking thing. Excuse my language. But it's up against this motherfucker because it's what I believe in. And when my back is against this motherfucker, then there's nowhere to go. But that way. That's it. So I feel like this could be something, an ideology and mindset that could help you. Could, if you look at it that way. Because you made it already. We made it. We're successful boys, and we're lucky boys to be where we're at. Oh, you guys made it. Everybody's rich in the room. Nobody's going to get evicted anymore. Anything you got, there's no more money problems, right? You got a lot of hands out now. Hey, can I get a little bit? Can I get a little bit? Right? That happens. But when you make it, for me, I need this. I need this. So every day, my back is up against this motherfucker, and this is how I operate. Now, doesn't mean you don't smile. Doesn't mean you don't laugh and joke, right? You're happy. I'm happy. I'm a happy guy. But when it comes to business, and when it comes to executing, it's up against this. And I got to go that way. I don't give a fuck who is in front of me. They're not going to stop me. I feel like for me, it feels seamless because you prepared for so long. But it's just like you guys prepping for a game. That's the fun part. That's where it's like, fuck, it's fun, man. People are paying their hard-earned dollars to come see you. They're cheering. They're going bananas. They're booing the shit out of you around the road. That's fun. That's what you live for. I mean, that's the juice right there. The prep is where the character's made. And I just don't mean the character I play. I mean the character in here. So for me, the prep is getting with the director, getting with the producers, getting with the writers, so in essence, it's like getting with all your coaches and your different position coaches and all the meetings that you have to have, right? So that's the work you put in. The key for me was, where does it start? What's the anchor? What's the anchor? So I can have all these ambitions, and you guys have all these ambitions, which is great. It's important. I'll play this role, you'll play that role. I'll execute this thing, and it'll come out this summer. You guys will execute this thing during the summer, right, when it's time to really put in a lot more work. But the key with me is just always finding what the anchor is. And the fucking anchor is getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning every day before anybody else and grounding my thought process is in the no one will outwork me.
He's quite an influential guy, Dwayne Johnson. Talk about depression there. What gets you up in the morning? Compassion is what gets you up in the morning. What's your compassion for supporting family, to looking after yourself, looking after your health, looking after your well-being? He didn't say it as a compassion, but I know it's compassion. What thrives humanity's to wake up in the morning, regardless of depression, regardless of life poetry. Some days you work so hard, and all you want to do is have your voice heard. All you want to do is have people support you, but no one's acknowledged you. So you do everything in your willpower to get the love and the support and people to realise you try and do something good for society. The only way you fail is giving up. Sometimes I just want to get my computer and throw out the window. I think, well, no one cares, no one supports me, no one's acknowledging me. But if I give up, I show the people that I failed. I show society that I failed. And if I fail society, so why would I give up being an influencer? Absolutely not. All suffer. Some of us suffer in pain. Some of us suffer, some of us suffer in silence. Some of us suffer mentally. Some of us suffer physically. We have to keep pushing forward each day. I tell you what, I don't hate anyone. All I do is just protect my innocence. No one's innocent in this world, believe me. But all I do is protect my innocence. Your innocence is your heart. Still beating the next day. Still trying to do good back for society. I tend to get, I will get harassment, some kind. I tend not trying to be provoked by a human mechanism. It's hard to it's hard to forgive sometimes, I had a bit of time at church. Maybe that's what it is. In church, we're told to forgive and forget. Sometimes I have a bit of time off, and I end up retaliating. Not in a physical way, but in a verbal argument. You think to yourself, why did I just make myself sound so stupid, so incompetent? I've come this far. Why should I give everything up? Anyway, moving on. COVID. Afghanistan police clash with anti-lockdown protesters. Police in the Australian cities. Because Afghan, COVID Australian police clash with anti-lockdown protesters. Police in Australia cities of Melbourne and Sydney have clashed with thousands of people protesting against COVID lockdowns. In Melbourne, mounted officers used pepper spray when elements of 4,000 strong rally broke through police lines. Police arrested 218 people and at least 7 officers were injured. In Sydney, where lockdown measures have been made extended for another month, more than 1,000 officers dispersed protests. It comes as a state of New South Wales, NSW, of which Sydney is the capital, recorded 825 new locally acquired cases, the highest number for any Australian territory in a 24-hour period. In Brisbane, The capital, Queensland, more than 2,000 protesters gathered before holding a largely peaceful march. Police in the state of Victoria condemned the violence that broke out in Melbourne on Saturday. While there were some peaceful protests in attendance, the majority of those who attended came with violence in mind, a spokeswoman said, quoted by the Sydney Morning Herald. The behaviour seen by the police was so hostile and aggressive that they were left with no choice but to use all tactics available to them. All those arrests face fines of up to $5,452. That's $2,850 for breaching COVID regulations, police said. 3 people were also charged with assaulting police. Stay-at-home orders were extended across Victoria on Sunday in a bid to contain a widening outbreak of COVID cases. The protests in Sydney were smaller, with about 250 people taking part. Deputy NSW Police Commissioner Mal Lanyon told reporters that one officer had been injured after being dragged into a road by a protester and that 47 arrests had been made. He said police had stopped about 38,000 cars heading into the city centre, handing out 260 infringement notices to people across the state suspected of breaching lockdown regulations. He called the actions of the protesters deplorable, saying that police response was not about stopping free speech, but stopping the spread of coronavirus. About 1,500 officers were deployed to disperse the protesters in Sydney. NSW Police Minister David Elliott said they had done an exemplary job. The protests come hours after lockdown in Sydney was extended until the end of September to show the spread of COVID outbreak. Authorities also imposed a curfew on 2 million residents in the city's worst hit suburbs. Sydney residents have been under stay-at-home orders since late June. However, infections have more than doubled in the past week. Critics of the curfew say they do not think it is an effective virus control. NSW lawmakers have also criticised authorities for applying harsher restrictions in Sydney's poorer west and south-west suburbs. Australia has been widely praised for its pandemic response and recorded 978 deaths, fewer than many nations. But the emergence of Delta variant in early June triggered a surge of infections. Looking at a bit closer to home now, in Essex constituency. This is quite horrific. A theme park. Southend Adventure Island security guard and 2 police officers attacked in a theme park. There's always violence around like a theme park all the time. Don't know why. 6 people have invested in connection with the incident. I suppose you get your locals, don't you? There's like friction through school, sporting events, and they meet at a theme park and some, I don't know. There's always some sort of crime going on. Don't know why. I have no idea. Locals don't seem to get on for whatever reason. Security guard was attacked at the Adventure Island yesterday afternoon, August 20th. Police have confirmed. Essex police were called to an incident at the popular theme park in Western Esplanade on Southend Sea around 44:40, with reports of an assault. A man in his 20s who was working as security guard for Adventure Island has been assaulted. Thankfully, police have confirmed he did not need medical treatment. During the incident, 2 police officers were also assaulted, with one officer kicked while the other was hit on the head and pulled by her hair. Despite the attack, neither officer has sustained any injuries. 6 people have been arrested in connection with the incident, 3 boys, 2 men and a girl, who all remain in custody today, Saturday, August 21st. Essex police say they are currently in the process of reviewing Adventure Island CCTV of the incident to further investigations. Essex Police Chief Inspector Dave Miles said the incident understandably caused some alarm locally yesterday, but I can assure you the public that despite the number of reports online, no weapons of any kind were used against anyone. A security guard at the Adventure Island was assaulted, but is thankfully recovering well. As a result of policing plans we have in place in Southend, were able to respond to the incident with 2 minutes of it being reported to us. Sadly, our officers responded to the incident. 2 were injured as they did their job. Thankfully, however, they were not seriously hurt. This again serves to highlight the risk of police officers take each day as they go about their role. Absolutely critically correct. They put their head on the line to serve the public and they get treated quite irrationally, not fair. They're doing a job to protect society, protect and serve, and they get attacked. It's a shame that otherwise trouble-free summer holidays marred by this incident. Philip Miller, MBE, whose company, Stockvale Group, run Venture Island, said, "It's a shame that an otherwise trouble-free summer holidays was marred by this incident." I would like to thank Essex Police who arrived promptly and took no-nonsense approach in dealing with the incident. I must also pay a tribute to the home team of guards and staff who all held the line, trying to do their job, trying to put baked beans and toast on the table for the families, and that's how they get treated by society. Also, I felt a bit thingy myself yesterday. Something in a hemisphere, hemisphere pressure. I don't know. Don't you get that sometimes? You feel like a big combustion of big combustion of the humid weather. Feels like your head's gonna be provoked over no reason, just for the weather climate sometimes. I don't know if you guys get that, or if that's just an optical illusion. Afghanistan, Boris Johnson says he was full confidence in Dominic Raab. Boris Johnson says he was absolutely full of confidence in his foreign secretary and criticism of Dominic Raab's decision not to call Afghanistan ministers over evacuating translators. Mr. Raab said he insisted prioritise security at Kabul airport and delegated the call to a minor minister. But that call did not happen due to the deteriorating situation, he's added. The Foreign Secretary rejected demands from the opposition to resign. Speaking after a meeting, the government's Emergency Code Committee on Afghanistan, the Prime Minister dismissed suggestions the UK was uninterested in the issue, saying the whole of the government has been working virtually around the clock. He added that the situation at the airport in Kabul was getting slightly better. He also said that the UK's commitment to Afghanistan was lasting, adding, "What I want to assure people is that our political and diplomatic efforts to find a solution for Afghanistan, working with the Taliban, of course, if necessary, will go on." Since Saturday, UK evacuated 1,615 people, including 399 British nationals and their dependents, 320 embassy staff, and 402 Afghan nationals who worked for the UK government in Afghanistan. So they got UK evacuated 1,615 people from Afghanistan. Meanwhile, the government has announced $5 million for local councils in England, Scotland and Wales, offering to house Afghans who have arrived under Afghanistan relocations and assistance policy (ARAP) program. Under the scheme, Afghans who face threats from the Taliban, having worked from the UK in Afghanistan, have been allowed to come to the UK. A separate resettlement scheme has also been set up to relocate up to 20,000 in Afghanistan over long term, with Home Secretary Priti Patel emphasising that the majority of those should be women and girls and prosecuted minorities. New arrivals from Afghanistan will be offered a first dose of the COVID vaccine and rapid access to support for mental well-being. The government has said it has also provided appropriate clothing and toys for the children to keep them entertained. Earlier this week, it emerged in a report by the Daily Mail that Dominic Raab had been on holiday in Crete last Friday and unavailable to make the phone call to Afghanistan Foreign Minister as the Taliban advanced towards Kabul, Afghanistan's capital. Labour Shadow Foreign Secretary Lisa Nandy said Mr. Raab's defence simply doesn't add up. It should have been an absolute priority to speak to Afghan government and set out the immediate actions necessary to ensure the safe evacuation of Britons and Afghans, she added. On Friday, Mr. Reeve attended a virtual NATO meeting where the members emphasised the need for an inclusive government in Afghanistan and urged the Taliban to uphold human rights. Mr. Reeve said UK's immediate priorities are working alongside our NATO allies to prevent Afghanistan from becoming a safe haven for terrorists, ensuring that the life-saving humanitarian aid can reach those who most need it most, and working with the international partners to safeguard stability in their region. Thank you everyone for staying, just being patient, staying here, staying preserved, observed. You're part of that aristocracy social elite. Absolutely critical listeners. Sheffield hotel full. MPs call for urgent investigation after death. A refugee council says hotels are being used to accommodate people due to a shortage of suitable housing. An urgent independent investigation must be carried out into the safety of accommodation provided to Afghan refugees. A group of MPs has said the call for inquiry comes after Mohammed Munid Ajivi, who had only recently arrived in the UK, fell to his death from a hotel window in Sheffield. The city's Labour's MP said 5-year-old death was unimaginable tragedy and lessons must have been learnt. The Home Office said it was committed to ensuring safe and secure housing. Mohammed is believed to have fallen from a 9th floor at a OYO Metropolitan Hotel in Blanc Street at about 2:30 BST on Wednesday. Louise Hay, Labour MP for Sheffield Heeley, said, "We know that the Home Office placed some refugees there last August and then moved them following concerns about the suitability of the accommodation. So why vulnerable families from Afghanistan involving children were placed in this accommodation again this year is a very serious question that they have to urgently answer." The Home Office did not deny the claims when approached for comment, but said it was absolutely committed to ensuring the Afghan refugees are appropriately accommodated. South Yorkshire Police is investigating the circumstances and said officers were providing support to the boy's family. Meanwhile, a woman who was arrested Friday morning over comments posted online following death. 42-year-old from Sheffield was being questioned on suspicion of malicious communication and racially aggravated public order offences, police said. The police family is understood to be arrived in the UK in early August in part of Afghan Relocation and Assistance Policy, ARAP scheme. 10 other Afghan families staying at a hotel have been moved to alternative accommodation. The 5 MPs, Paul Bloomfield, Clive Betts, Oliver Bake, Jill Furness and Miss Hay, said in the joint statement, "The death of Mohammed Munib Majedi is an unimaginable tragedy. Our hearts go out to his family and friends, and supporting them at this terrible time must be everyone's priority." They said the Home Office had duty of care, which settled under its programmes, and added, "Lessons must be learnt from this tragedy so it is never repeated." Any review must be independently conducted to establish what was known by the Home Office about the suitability and safety of the accommodation, and what procedures were followed by commissioning its use for vulnerable families. UK must be a safe haven for those fleeing the appalling horrors in Afghanistan, and we must see a clear commitment for the government to ensure this is the case, they added. Was anything overlooked? Enver Solomon, Chief Executive of the Refugee Council, said the speed of the situation in Afghanistan had meant the usual arrangements for refugees had not been possible. What normally would happen is a family would arrive and it would be taken by an emergency like ours to the house that had been set up and organised by a local council, he said. Due to a shortage of suitable accommodation, the Home Office had to use hotels, Mr. Solomon said, and it was not clear if the necessary health checks had been done. We don't know the details there. Needs a rapid investigation to find out whether anything was overlooked or steps weren't taken to ensure all potential risks were minimised for the families put in hotels. Not acceptable. Mr. Sullivan said the Refugee Council had published a report in April looking at the situation in hotels. We found some really disturbing stories, for example, people with mobility problems being put on high floors in hotels where there are no lifts. It's certainly been very challenging in hotels. However, he said there were not found any specific examples of concerns related to safety issues. The government said all families staying in a hotel have been moved, adding Home Office is committed to ensuring accommodation is safe, secure, and individuals are provided with meals and support. A spokesman for the Afghanistan Community Association, Sheffield, said, whether it was a mistake or something, I don't know, but what happened is not acceptable at all. It is very, very sad for the whole community. Everybody has been devastated for this poor family who had just arrived from Afghanistan to have a life here. There's a lot of criticism about the Afghanistan people coming over. They deserve the help that they get, I believe. I'm not in a position to say yay or nay, but how we've been brought up through church, life circle, and life cycle, we are here to love thy neighbour like we love ourselves. Anyway, I just want to say thank you all for tuning in. I want to say thank you, God bless, have a wonderful weekend. Don't forget, tomorrow is going to be a Holy Sunday, to rejoice at the church. Take care, one love, and speak soon.